I want to start today a little differently. No intro, no theme music yet, just you and me. Because 300 episodes in, I think you deserve more than a regular show today. 300 times someone sat down with me, or I sat down with myself, and we talked about something real, something that matters, something that most people either avoid or simply do not know how to start. And 300 times, I believed the same thing I believed on day one, that your life, your financial life, your emotional life, your sense of purpose, all of it, it does not have to look the way it looks right now. That is why we are here. That is why we have always been here. So today I'm not bringing you a guest. Today I'm bringing you the whole story, where I started, what I have learned, and what I believe is possible for you right now. Welcome to Give a Heck. I am your host, Dwight Heck, and for much of my life, lived my life in quiet desperation, wondering how I was going to pay the bills, take vacations, save for retirement, and one day wondering if I would get off the hamster wheel of life and have purpose. A life that most of society lives, which takes us to work, then home, then repeat, and pays us hopefully enough just to survive. The harsh truth that most live with more months than money and have no idea how to live life on purpose, not by accident. This ensures the mass majority are living not just financially broke, however, emotionally and mentally as well due to financial pressures. In each episode, I will introduce you to thoughts, ideas, and guests that can help you to learn how you too can live life on purpose, not by accident. Welcome back to the Give a Heck podcast. I'm your host, Dwight Heck, and this is episode 300. 300. I have been sitting with that number for a while, trying to figure out what it actually means. And the honest answer is it means everything and nothing at the same time. The number itself does not matter. What happened inside those 300 conversations, that is what matters. But before I get there, I want to take you back because you need to understand where this started. Not the polished version, not the highlight reel, the real one. The hamster wheel. I grew up in Camrose, Alberta, small town about an hour outside of Edmonton. My family ran a farm equipment dealership. Good people, strong values, a lot of hard work baked into everything we did, and not a single lesson about how money actually works. So when I became an adult, I did what most adults do. I went to work. I got paid. The money disappeared. I went back to work. Repeat. That hamster wheel you hear me talk about on this show, I was not describing it from the outside looking in. I was living it every single day, and I was doing all of that as a single dad, 5 kids, 4 daughters, and a son. So failure was not really an option. I let myself consider even on the days when I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, which honestly was a lot of days. The turning point then, 2001 hit. Health issues showed up that I could not ignore. And all of that sudden, the IT consulting world I've been grinding through for 9 years felt like it was going to bury me mentally, physically, financially. A friend reached out in 2002 and said, "Come take a look at the financial services industry." I did not know what an RRSP was. I did not understand life insurance. I barely had a budget, but I knew one thing. I was tired of not knowing. I was tired of the quiet desperation at 2 in the morning, staring at my bank account, trying to figure out how the numbers could possibly work when they never did. So I made a decision, not a comfortable one, not a clean one, not a confident one. If I am being honest, just a decision to stop drifting and start learning. For myself first, and then for every family I could sit across from. That decision eventually became a career spanning nearly 24 years. It became a best selling book. It became a speaking platform. It became appearing as a guest on roughly 50 other podcasts where other hosts trusted me enough to bring my story and my message to their audiences. About 5.5 years ago, it became this podcast. I want to be clear about something. I did not start Give a Heck because I had figured it out. I started it because I had been in the room with enough people to know the struggle is universal and the silence around it absolutely does not have to be. Kindness, family, faith, everything I have built. I mean, everything has been built on three things: kindness, family, faith, not strategies, not systems, not a 5 step framework. Three values were shaped in a small town in Alberta, tested through some of the hardest years of my life and refined through 5 years of conversations with people who taught me what those words actually mean when they are lived out loud. Every guest I have ever had on the show has touched at least one of those three things, often all three. And I think that is why the show has resonated the way it has, because people can feel when something is built on something real. Now, I want to take some time to talk about the people who have made this show what it is, because I am proud of what I've built here. But the honest truth is, I am a vehicle. The guests are the fuel. Over 5 years, I have sat with people from every corner of the human experience. And I do not say that lightly. I mean, literally, every corner, the stories that stayed with me, I have sat with a Holocaust survivor. Let that land for a moment. A person who walked through one of the darkest chapters in human history and came out the other side with a message about resilience and the meaning of a single ordinary day that I have genuinely never forgotten. I have had deep, honest conversations about narcissism, about what it does to a family, a marriage, a person's sense of who they are, about how you begin to rebuild your identity after someone has spent years convincing you that you do not have one worth rebuilding. I've had conversations about empathy that changed the way I show up in rooms because it turns out most of us walk around believing we are empathetic. And most of us have more room to grow in that area than we would like to admit, myself included. I have spoken with people who have worked alongside Robin Williams. Two of my guests in separate conversation had that connection to him. And what struck me both times was the same thing. Even people surrounded by brilliance and laughter and genius can be quietly carrying something the rest of the world cannot see. That is not a commentary on Robin Williams. That is a reminder that we never really know what someone is holding. That is the through line of every single guest I have ever had on this show. Not their title, not their credentials, not how famous they are or how much they have earned. It is the fact that at some point they were carrying something heavy and they made a choice to put it down and walk differently. The breadth of what these conversations have covered, I have had people on this show who have lost 200 pounds, who went from homeless to financial freedom, who survived addiction, suicide attempts, and heart attacks, and came back to build something that now serves other people. I have had a Broadway star, Hollywood screenwriters and actors, journalists, architects, leadership coaches, and entrepreneurs who started with nothing but have built multi-million-dollar portfolios. I have had a young man whose story of depression started at age 13 and whose courage to speak out about it publicly has no doubt reached another 13-year-old somewhere in the world who desperately needed to hear it. I have had people who were fired at 63 and financially free by 69. People who journaled their way through grief and came out on the other side clearer than when they went in. People who reinvented their entire identity when the life they thought they were living turned out not to be the one they actually wanted. Every single one of them had one thing in common. They stopped waiting for someone to hand them a different life. They stopped accumulating reasons why change was not possible. And they made one decision, one small, imperfect, sometimes terrifying decision to move 85 countries, one at a time. Here's something I want to share with you that I think about more than most people would expect. This show has been listened to in 85 countries. Now, I want to be transparent with you. Some of those countries represent one episode, one listen, one person somewhere on the other side of the world who found this show and pressed play. And someone once suggested to me that one listener in a country hardly counts. I don't want to go on record right now and tell you that I completely, respectfully disagree because I have no idea which episode for which person on which night is the one that changes everything for them. I have no idea if that one listen in that one country was someone sitting alone at midnight, wondering if their life could look different. And if it was, and if something they heard on this show gave them even a small reason to believe that it could, then that one listen matters more than any download number I could ever put on a slide. I did not build this show to collect statistics. I built it to reach people. And if that has reached even one person in 85 countries who needed it, then we are doing exactly what we set out to do. To every single guest who has trusted me with their story, thank you. You showed up, you were real, you were vulnerable, and you gave this community something they could not get anywhere else. I do not take that lightly, and I never will. I want to shift gears a little now, because while the show has never been exclusively about money, money is woven through nearly every story on it, even the ones that seem to have nothing to do with dollars. The burnout story is a money story. The addiction story is often a money story. The grief story, the career reinvention story, the relationship breakdown story, they all have a financial chapter, whether people name it or not. So let me share the three things that 300 episodes have taught me about money and living on purpose. And I want to be clear, these are not textbook lessons. These are things I have watched unfold in real people's real lives over and over again. Lesson one, most people are living somebody else's financial plan. Not literally. I mean that most people have never actually sat down and decided what they want their financial life to look like. They're not following a default, go to school, get a job, spend what you earn, hope retirement sorts itself out. That default plan, I say this with genuine compassion because I lived it myself, is why the research consistently shows that 91% of people will not achieve lasting financial independence. 91%, not because they're not smart enough, not because they did not work hard enough, because nobody ever helped them build a plan that was actually theirs. There is a massive difference between earning money and understanding money, and most of us have never, ever been taught how to earn it. Your money monsters are real. Lesson two. And they have names. Over 5 years of conversations, I have come to understand that most financial problems are not actually financial problems. They are emotional ones. Wearing a financial costume, fear of looking at the bank account, guilt about past decisions, the belief that money is somehow dirty or selfish or simply beyond your reach, the quiet, persistent feeling that you do not deserve to be financially secure. I call these money monsters, and every single person has at least one, including me. The difference between people who move forward financially and people who stay stuck is not intelligence or income level. It is whether they have ever named their monsters and decided to stop letting those monsters drive. The guests on this show who turned their financial lives around, they named their monsters. Sometimes in therapy, sometimes in a journal, sometimes in conversation with someone they finally trusted enough to tell the truth to, but they named him. And naming something takes away about half of its power right there on the spot. Lesson three: regret is the most expensive thing you will ever buy. I have been in this industry for over 23 years, coming up on my 24th. I have sat across from people at every stage of life, and the hardest conversations I have had are the ones about bankruptcy or debt or a missed investment opportunity. The hardest ones are with people who look at me and say quietly, I always meant to get around to this. Regret is not free. It costs you the life you could have had. And most regret is not the result of a bad decision. It is a result of no decision at all, of waiting, of telling yourself there was more time. There is still time. Right now, wherever you are listening to this, there is still time. But the only moment that ever actually exists is this one. And what you choose to do with it belongs entirely to you. I want to talk directly to you now, not the collective you specifically, the person who is listening to this right now. I have been thinking about why you are here, not in that psychological sense. I mean, why are you listening to this show? Out of the thousands of podcasts available to you at any moment of the day, you choose this one at some point and you came back. My guess is that something in you is looking for permission. Permission to believe that your situation can actually change. Permission to stop pretending everything is fine when it is not. Permission to ask for help when someone that, meaning you, have somehow failed. Here's what I want you to hear. On episode 300 of this show, you already have that permission. You have always had it. The only thing standing between where you are and where you want to go is the conversation you have not had yet. What that conversation looks like over my career, I have had thousands of those first conversations, and they almost never start with the real thing. They start with something surface level, a question about a pension or an RSP or what to do with life insurance policy they're not sure they need. And then somewhere about 20 minutes in, the actual thing shows up. The fear, the confusion, the feeling that it's too late or too complicated or that nobody is going to understand what they're actually up against. And every time, without exception, the person across from me or on the other end of the line walks away from that conversation lighter than when they came in. Not because I had a magic answer, because they finally said the real thing out loud to someone who was not going to judge them for it. That is what I do. And if I am being completely honest, it is my favorite part of what I do. I help people figure out where they are, where they genuinely want to go, and what is standing in between. And then we build something real together. It is not complicated, but it is have to start somewhere. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. And I want to be very completely clear before I ask it. This is not a pitch. This is an invitation. If anything you've heard today landed for you, if any part of this episode made you think about your own life, your own situation, your own sense of whether you are living on purpose or just still just going through the motions. I want to have a conversation with you, a real one. No pressure, no jargon, no agenda other than genuinely understanding where you are and what you actually want. I call it a discovery call. And what we discover in it is unique to every single person I sit with. But in my experience, most people leave that first conversation knowing three things they did not know when we started. And one of those things is usually the thing that has been quietly costing them far more than they realize. Here's the bonus. Because you showed up, this is episode 300. And because of that, and because I'm genuinely grateful that you are here, I'm going to sweeten this a little. Everyone who books a discovery call and actually shows up for it will receive a copy of my book, Give a Heck: How to Live Life on Purpose and Not by Accident. If I can get a physical copy to you, I will send one. If you're listening from one of the 85 countries the show has reached around the world, and a physical book is not realistic, the electronic version is yours. Either way, it is a thank you for doing the one thing that most people never actually do, which is deciding to show up. A word about where you live. I want to be upfront about something here because I think honestly, honesty matters more than a smooth sales line. If you live in Alberta or British Columbia, I am licensed to work with you directly on the financial side. That means beyond the coaching conversation, I can help you set up actual products and structures you need to start building the life you want. RRSPs, TFSAs, life insurance, income protection, retirement planning, the full picture in one place with someone who's not going to pressure you into anything. If you live anywhere else in Canada or anywhere in the world, what I offer you is life and financial coaching. We work through your why. We name your life monsters and your money monsters. We build a framework for intentional living that you can actually use wherever you are. And if at the end of the process you need someone who can help you on the product side of things, I will help you figure out who that person should be. The goal, regardless of where you live, is the same: to help you stop living by accident and start living on purpose, to stop letting regret be the most expensive item in your life, and to give you a plan and a path that actually belongs to you. Head to giveaheck.com and find the Work With Me page. Book your discovery call there. It takes about 2 minutes, and it might honestly be the most important 2 minutes you spend this year. Before I let you go, I want to say one more thing. And I want to say it carefully because I mean every word of it. When I launched this show in November of 2020, I had no idea what I was building. I had a microphone, a mission, and a belief that honest conversations about real struggles could help people. That was genuinely the whole plan. I did not know it would reach 85 countries. I did not know it would rank in the top 2 to 3% of podcasts globally. I did not know that in the last 30 days alone, people in 27 countries would tune in. I did not know that I would end up appearing as a guest on roughly 50 other shows, carrying this message to audiences I never could have reached on my own. And I want to say something about the size of this audience because I think it matters. We are not a show with hundreds of thousands of listeners. And you know what? I have made peace with that because I have never been building this for the numbers. I have been building it for the person, the one person who finds an episode on a Tuesday night when they really needed to hear something that reminded them they are not alone. Someone once asked me if one listener in a country counts. And I want to tell you again, with everything I have got, yes, absolutely yes, because I do not know which episode for which person on which night is the one that shifts something for them. And that means every single listen matters, every one. So, to every person who has ever pressed play on this show, whether you found it last week or you have been here since episode 1, thank you. You are the reason episode 300 exists, and you are the reason there will be an episode 301. Living on purpose is not a destination you arrive at and then you are done. It is the decision you make, and then you make it again, and then you make it again on the days when it is hard and nothing feels like it is working, and you wonder why you even bothered. Those are actually the most important days because that is when the decision means the most. I am Dwight Heck. This has been the Give a Heck podcast, episode 300. I want to remind you that it is never too late to Give a heck. And God bless and have an amazing rest of your year. Thank you for taking time out of your day and listening to Give a Heck. If you find value, I'd appreciate you sharing with your friends and family so they too can learn how to live life on purpose, not by accident. So you do not miss the next episode, please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and please also post a review. I look forward to reading your comments. This has been Dwight Heck. If you want to check out other podcast episodes or today's show notes, please check out my website, giveaheck.com. And until next time, together let us all strive to give a heck.